guys go today? I'm to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a new person. There's an old one that is now like Todd. What?
It says orientation is
Like there's another. There's a new
for a what? Oh, you can't do it.
It's not a like.
I mean, it's going, but
Wait, let me
check on your name.
Critique the piece that Are you serious? Yeah, it's really interesting. I didn't go to it. I think I'm gonna go on Friday instead. I would go to get my hours in, and then also Lisa's trying to keep it. Oh yeah, I heard about that. Who said about that? Yeah, apparently he's coming on Friday. So like, I need to go. Well, also like on Friday, y'all are gonna go. The way you knew it? The way to get coffee with you guys. Oh, because concert you can't go. It looks like I guess that. I want to be there. I don't want. I mean, wait. Let me ask you. I don't know you guys endorsing this kind of music. I'm just curious what that guy's race is. Like, we had this like really long conversation about it when he made us go to that one thing last week. Like, he's not really sure. How do you know that? He says he's happy. I don't. Oh, yeah. I'd like to talk. Yeah. Me. I would like to get me. Really? Do you want to see him? Yeah. No. My friend. Like, I think it's just blatantly said it's fine. Sorry. Like, it's easier to sit here so we can see if it's going.
That's what I was about to say.
Okay. Then I don't know how you're gonna charge your phone if it's that way.
I have the charger. Or like, what do you mean?
If we sit there, should we just sit here? That's crazy. Because he's looking at for a second. Or I can sit there and you can sit here, so I can see if it's like going. Sure. I mean, should we take a selfie? Natalia, we're gonna take a selfie. Did you hear about this guy? Oh, yeah, no, I was there. He's here too. Oh, yeah. We're gonna take a selfie for Todd here.
Yeah.
Guy. Hi. How are you?
Good, how are you doing? I'm coming through, I think.
Thank you. Tarjay. She's fine.
I'll go, yeah.
Okay, she's fine. Oh my god, I found that one. Oh my goodness. Okay, Talia, do you want to see the website? Put it in my So yeah, you can plug it into here. Just let me know when you want it. Because I think I have a lot of battery. So it's under the top. This is so funny. Oh my god, it was just four of y'all. That was me. Got it. What? Comment. Oh my god. Yeah, kind of wait, and I'll watch on my phone to make sure. Apparently the dog's going to go on a Monday. On a Monday.
like turn it off or just filter it?
Look at me. I don't want to hear it.
I wish there was a way to report. I'm reporting. Oh, sorry, I'll just...
I mean, I think that the screen is for like those I can't see. So like I don't
It's
think.
gonna have like questions on it. But I think it's fine. Because the other one is
Well, yeah.
so. Well, let me double check.
Should I like get tested?
Yeah, Carly, yeah, you should get some.
Should I get tested? I want to like check in for a tape.
Who's from the Daily Texan?
I'll be moderating today with the help of my associate editors. Tiffany will be taking notes, and Beth will be taking time. Belle will hold up a yellow card to indicate to the candidates that 30 seconds are left, an orange one for 15 seconds, and a red one to indicate that you're out of time. To start, executive alliances will introduce themselves and their platforms. Then we will proceed to the executive alliance general debate, which will be provided in 2 parts. After the moderated general questions, we will start taking submitted audience questions. To conclude, each executive alliance will provide a closing statement. To submit a question, scan the QR code. This QR code on the screen. And fill out the Google form. Q&A submissions will be available until the start of the moderated question section. A list of all active candidates and their candidacy statements is available on the campus-wide election website. I'd like to welcome the executive alliances to the stage. You each have 2 minutes to introduce your alliance and present your platforms. Starting with Kate Cradaville and Bailey English.
Hi, I'm Kate,
Hey, I'm Bailey.
and you're probably wondering why we're not in our George Washington and Abraham Lincoln costumes.
Well, as kind of our for outreach and just meeting people around campus, we wanted to strike a more serious tone tonight.
So what are we serious about? Well, me and Bailey believe that UT has too many easily solvable problems given the amount of resources that we have.
For a university with an endowment approaching $50 billion, student government only gets $115,000 of that. For comparison, UCLA gives their student government $10 million, the University of Florida lets students control $24 million, and UTC's not only one of the lowest budgets in the SEC, but also one of the lowest voter turnout rates. And that's because students don't care about student government because they can't see or feel what student government is doing.
And me and Bailey want to change that. Now, I can't snap my fingers and make millions of dollars appear out of thin air. But what I can do is refocus the attention and resources of student government onto practical, tangible, quality of life issues that impact every Longhorn. Student government's like local government. Local government's popular when potholes get filled and your trash gets picked up on time. In the same way, student government should focus on these concrete quality of life issues.
Like updating registration for the first time in over 10 years.
making the tower library 24/7,
Centralizing access to research opportunities.
or even something as simple as putting a microwave in the PCL. These aren't impossible problems. They're solvable, they're tangible, and they're practical. Me and Bailey want to solve these basic quality of life issues, because what starts here starts with you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Jaylen Nina and Nina Wright.
How's everybody doing? My name is Jaylen Nina. I'm a junior advertising major here at UC.
Hi all, my name is Nina and I'm a junior double major in political communication and informatics.
So, more so than anything, our campaign is Open Letters to the University. It's an open letter about what this community can be, what it has been, and what it is currently. And we have these three campaign tenets of community, transparency, and access, all under this umbrella of a slogan for the 40. And more than a slogan, it's a promise. It's a promise that we will always be for the 40. We will put community in action, transparency in a mechanized fashion, and create access to students to be a part of organizations that we know carry our campus culture. And more than anything, our thesis statement is that there's a lot to be divided about on campus today, but we have so much more in common than we do different.
And let me tell you how we're going to do it. By looking at our policy platform, and any of y'all can look at it on our Instagram, Jaylen x Nina, we have 8 policy topics that are conversations that we know you all students are already having at the university. Our policy initiatives are day one action items that we plan on approaching while getting in office. But this is all based on the first policy topic, which is SG reform. The organization has its issues, and in my experience being in student government, all of the policy that's talked about on the stage today is only possible if the organization that is responsible for promoting it uplifts it well and serves the needs of you all as the students. We want the system to be fixed, and we want it to serve your needs. And by doing that, we have to look all the way to our codes of conduct, governing docs, and redefining all the roles across all 3 branches. Thank you all for having us and listening to us today.
Next, we have Kelsey Green and Nicholas Smith.
Good evening, Longhorns. My name is Kelsey Green. I am UT 27, so I am a junior. I'm majoring in government, minoring in law, justice, and society, and I'm running to be your next student government president. The reason why me and Nick decided to run is because we wanted to help bridge the communication between administration and students. We also wanted to represent every Longhorn, regardless of background, major, in studies, and we wanted to make one thing clear. Student government is here to advocate for your voices. So if you believe that every student belongs, regardless of major, regardless of race, regardless of background and studies, stand with us, text together.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Nicholas Smith, and I am a government major, or junior majoring in government. Ultimately, like much Kelsey said, we're running on the AAAs as well, which would be accountability, accessibility, and action. We're running because we think in the past, student government has forgotten students, and that's its core message, and we're hoping to rebuild some trust in student government. Thank you.
Next, we have Sarah Sheriff and Siona Nayapoli.
Hi, my name is Sarah Sheriff.
And I'm Siona Nayapoli.
Throughout our 3 years here on campus so far, we've learned 4 things.
Number 1, the University of Texas brings together driven, creative, and genuinely impressive students from across the globe.
Number 2, the UT community shows up. Whether it's packing out DKR or a winter snowstorm, UT doesn't just talk about showing up for one another, we actually do it.
Number 3, here we are surrounded by people who challenge us, push us, and inspire us to turn what seems impossible into something achievable.
4, and most importantly, the OU really does suck.
As president and vice president of the student body, we're running on one simple belief. Y'all means all. Our platform centers around accessibility, community, and voice. Our goal is to remove everyday barriers so students can focus on learning, living, and leading.
Students should have all the tools they need to be successful in the classroom. Whether it's rentable devices so your laptops and iPads always function, or even updating the IDA so you know what classes to take next.
We have experience with leading and advocating for our community. As the co-president of the Plan 2 Student Association, I've learned how to oversee a multifunctional team to strengthen and uplift the Plan 2 community.
As your former College of Natural Science representative and university-wide representative in student government, over the last 3 years, I've learned how this student government operates, so I know how to get this stuff done.
We're ready to listen, ready to work, and ready to make student government something that every student at UT can be a part of. Thank you.
Next we have Camille Connor and Connor Jess.
Hello, America. My name is Camille Kilday. I'm an advertising and theater major, and my favorite color is pink.
My name is Connor Gass. I'm an American Studies major, and my favorite color is blue today.
Our slogan is politics over people, and that's more than a slogan, it's a promise.
We want to make sure that the student body is not making any decisions. You should not hear a single thing about government the entire time you're here. We make those decisions, not you.
It's important to us that we utilize all $115,000 of the student government budget for our personal benefit.
And for America. So to open up, we would like to sing the national anthem for you all. Please join in as you feel comfortable.
Oh,
say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight of the proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming. This is
That's okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Armando Jim. My name is Jim, and we are running to be your next student body president and vice president. So just a little bit about us. Well, about me. I'm from Dallas. I came from a relatively small high school, about 250 kids, and then I came to UT, where my graduating class was 11,000 students. So coming to UT, I was a bit overwhelmed. I lived in Siona freshman year, and I was a little bit overwhelmed by having that many students and having these massive class sizes. But with the help of my friends and my professors, and just overall, the University of Texas Longhorn vibe, I feel right at home on the board.
Yeah, similar background for me too. I come from Dallas. I went to a really, really small high school, and just for some background, it's not supposed to be a sob story, but when I was 5 years old, my father passed away. This experience is really why I'm running here today. He went to UT. I grew up hearing the stories like, if you get a full ride to OU, you're not going. If you get a full ride to A&M, you're not going. We're all here at UT because this is an amazing institution. We have everything to offer. I'm so grateful for all of you here in this room today and everyone we've gotten to meet so far through this process. So with that, why are we running for your student body president and vice president?
Yeah, so we're out here because we love Texas. We love everything that comes with it, the people, the professors, the football games, the athletic activities, the academics. Everything that comes with being a Longhorn, we love. And we just want to give our full heart back to y'all, back to the Longhorns.
So what does that look like? We have 3 main policy pillars. The first, Longhorn Standard. We're all here for academics. We chose this university because we knew that we could succeed in this college and beyond. Second, we have Mind, Body, and Burnt, which is our mental and physical health. Probably the most important policies in our platform because it's something that we really care about. It's bigger than politics. It's bigger than academics, we want everyone to feel welcomed here as a part of a community. And lastly, the Longhorn home, building community beyond and while we're here.
Yeah, so I think that just about sums it up. We just wanted to thank you so much to all of y'all for giving us the opportunity to run. Thank you so much, and we hope to serve you well.
Next we have Kira Dixon and Jaden Watt.
Hi everyone, good evening. We're running because moving the 40 forward to us means more than just big ideas. It means leadership that shows up and gets things done. This campus is huge and it moves fast. Students feel that pressure in their classes and campus systems, and in times when they're just fighting to feel heard. What leadership should do is show up for these students and understand the different challenges they face. That's why we built our different policies. We have 3 policy papers. All of them are built directly from the voices of students. That means things like mental health, food insecurity, housing on campus, transportation and safety, working with student orgs, and improving systems within our student government to make them better represent students. Our Executive Alliance, one of our greatest strengths is the fact that we come from vastly different parts of campus. Throughout our time here, we've had vastly different experiences. We've heard from the voices of different communities and their perspectives. However, one thing that has always remained constant is that students need to and deserve to feel heard. That's why we're running. We want to be the advocates for your voice at this university.
Kira and I may come from different backgrounds, but one thing remains consistent through everyone we've talked to. Students are feeling disenfranchised. It's a job of student government to give students what they need when we need it, and that is what our policy papers outline. Our policy papers highlight prevention rather than reaction afterwards. We're really, really excited to talk to you guys about our policy today. Thank you for being here, and hook 'em horns.
Thank you all for sharing your platforms with us. Let's move on to the first part of the general debate, during which I'll be asking questions directed towards all executive alliances. And student Q&A submissions have now closed. So with this portion, candidates may choose whether to respond to each question, and we'll have 1 minute to do so. Please raise your hand if you would like to respond, and I will call on you. If another executive alliance is mentioned by name, they will have the opportunity to provide a 30-second rebuttal. Are there any questions before we begin? Okay. Many executive alliances come from a desire to improve their community, and most have begun to do that before their names arrive on the ballot. What has your prior service to our campus looked like, and how has your executive alliance built off those contributions?
Yeah, I have kind of some unusual experience. This past summer, I rode my bike from Austin, Texas to Anchorage, Alaska, in the longest annual bike ride in the world to raise money for cancer research and support services. And it was a pretty incredible journey, and I helped my team of fellow UT students raise over $500,000 and bike 4,000 miles.
Yeah, and I've been involved around campus in the civic engagement space for a little while. It's funny, some of these projects we've been working on, like registration especially, started even before we officially announced our candidacy, just as student advocacy projects. And we started them before, and regardless of the outcomes of the election, tend to continue them after to be able to serve UT students.
Service can look like a bunch of different things, and I don't think it necessarily has to be specific past SG experience. Me and Bailey's diverse experience, whether that's helping me bike 100 miles on Speedway for a campaign stunt or helping us research registration, have made us a stronger team.
Jaylen?
Something that I think is really amazing about me and Nina's partnership is that we also come from very, very different backgrounds. We're both juniors, so since we arrived here 2.5 years ago, we both took very wildly different paths in our time here on the 40 Acres. I'm a 40 Acres scholar here at the University of Texas. I'm also part of Moody Honors, where I got really close with Nina. And as part of both of those programs, there's a lot of scholarship that goes in with them, but also I've been a part of service organizations on campus as well, like Texas Blazers and Texas Cowboys. And what I've learned from a lot of those experiences is a really innate understanding about what community means on this campus. Something else that Nina and I do share is that we're both Dean's Ambassadors at Moody, which means that we help bring in the next generation of Longhorns.
No need to further comment.
Thank you.
So for the past 2 years, I have been a student worker at the University of Housing and Dining, where I have served as a desk assistant. Within my role, I actively listen to parent and student concerns about the affordability of housing and also the accessibility of food and dining, which is why we implemented affordability policies within our outline. I'm also the Vice President of Black Student Alliance, where I have helped students on campus navigate the outcomes of SB 17. I am also a lovely member of the Delta Xi chapter of Alpha, Kappa Alpha sorority on campus, where we provide service opportunities for women on and off campus, as well as offer resources for their times of need. And I've also helped structure and execute student coalitions, where we advocated for student voices after the impacts of SB 17 and SB 30.
As a member of Breakthrough Central Texas, I help income professionals navigate our rigorous registration system, understand what financial aid and look for housing.
Does that make sense?
I've been a part of student government since freshman year. It's been really fun. Being your college natural science representative and the university-wide representative, I've had the unique opportunity of being able to speak to different student leaders on campus, whether it's going to the outposts and them saying, hey, we need to fix a number of graduation regalia programs that we have, so we need to donate more. So I think really being able to access those populations has been really cool. And also being a TIP scholar for the Texan Interdisciplinary Scholars Program, being a peer mentor, seeing freshmen go throughout their first years has been really cool and seeing them grow as students.
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, I currently serve as co-president of the Plan 2 Student Association. I've held different positions within the organization, which has given me a really great opportunity to connect with and uplift my fellow Plan 2 students. Sarah mentioned that she's a peer mentor. I'm also a peer mentor within Plan 2. It's given us an understanding of the issues that freshmen and students in different majors are facing so that we have stake in the community after we graduate.
I'd say the thing that I'm proudest of that I've been a part of at UT is this Armando and Ben fan art that I just made. Armando in it is saying, I love you, and Ben says, you're my best friend. And then it says, Armando extend forever. And I think that's really how I've served as a leader on campus.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say that trumps mine, but for me, you know, I worked at Palantir for many years. I was actually raised in the lab underneath Palantir's headquarters, and it was there that I absorbed vast amounts of metadata through an AI module, and I learned what students really like on campus, and so through that experience, I know what people will want, and I'm trying to do what's best for you all without you being involved.
I would like to say Ben and I are best friends. He is my best friend. So thank you. Absolutely. What service makes us qualified? I mean, when I was in high school, starting in high school, I started a charity called Project Lorenzo, and what we do is we work with people who are experiencing homelessness one-on-one on a micro level in shelters. We teach professional certification courses, and doing that over the past 4 years, and seeing real change made in people, I feel like I've learned so much and so many lessons, and I aim to apply this on a macro level if we get elected for student body president and vice president.
I just want to say I think service starts like the smallest level, and the smallest level. Can you hear me? You good? Okay. I think the biggest thing is like just walking around. Like every single day, I love saying hi to every single person I interact with, making friends with everyone I see. Through this process, it's been so good to keep doing that. But through a couple organizations such as Honors Business Association, being an elected representative of the Undergraduate Business Council, being able to mentor freshmen and also learn from seniors, allow me.
I think one of the ways I first started serving on campus was as soon as I stepped foot here, I wanted to get involved in student government. So I joined the first year leadership organization, which was one of the executive agencies, and then the next year I went on to lead that agency. So it kind of gave me a lot of direct experience into first being a mentee and then learning from a system and being able to improve it that next year and coach the freshmen through that agency. Then I had to experience a different kind of leadership when the agencies were dissolved, in which my mentorship took on a different form, helping students navigate what leadership looked like in a world in which their organization was no longer supported.
On campus, I've served in a variety of leadership roles and service roles. I'm currently the Director of Outreach for the Human Sweat Center for Collegiate Males, where I have piloted a mentorship program for over 50 students in that program. Additionally, I am currently the Community Service Chair for my province and my fraternity, where I have conducted multiple fundraisers, and Kira and I's on-campus experience complements each other very, very well, just because.
Student government has over a century of history on this campus, having taken part in many initiatives and advocacy campaigns, and sometimes ignoring others. At one point, even disbanding for 5 years to, quote, avoid all issues. What is the purpose and responsibility of modern student government in shaping campus culture and advocating for student interests? Nina?
I absolutely love that question. So, student government is meant to serve as a representative voice for the students. That's its pure definition. But in terms of our modern climate right now, as Jaylen and I had already mentioned in our opening statement, there's a lot of division that's being faced on campus. In my view, modern student government needs to go out to the community instead of asking people to come to us, and authentically engaging with initiatives through collaborative efforts by funding special projects and being visible on campus supporting existing student organizations. I'd like to point to one of our policy items, which is ad hoc committees, where we want to get students that are not elected representatives actively involved in student government, and helping them be a part of the organization is meant to serve them by bringing in more representative voices.
Sure, so yeah, people have not cared about student government for quite a while. In 1982, fun fact, the university elected a cartoon rather than a human being as president of student government, so this issue goes back a long ways. Now, one thing me and Bailey do to try to make student government more approachable is our costumes, but I don't think student government needs to be quite that goofy. Student government should deal with practical, tangible items, in my opinion. UT's got a lot of issues, just like any college. But what's unique about UT is how limited our student government is. Student government should address practical things, even if it's simple, like a microwave at the PCL.
So when it comes down to it, student government is for students. There are going to be national and state political issues. The federal state government will keep on picking on us all they want. But when it comes down to it, student government, with its budget, has to be scrappy, has to be pragmatic, it has to be focused on y'all. What starts here changes the world, but starts here starts with y'all. We want to make sure that everything we do is making a difference in y'all's lives.
So our campaign is really built on the idea of elevating student voices, but what that means, especially in a modern student government, isn't only supporting and advocating for the voices around us, especially in student government. Jayden and I recognize that there's a very high barrier to entry for student government. We're both government majors, we understand policy, we're comfortable speaking in front of all of you guys in a situation like this. But what's important is not us saying, here's what we think is best. It's actually going out and talking to those communities. So I want to point to one of our policies, which is a cross-SG-wide collaboration framework. It means where we overlap with Senate, where we overlap with GSA, we combine initiatives and we talk to students in the communities that they're in.
Additionally, I kind of want to highlight our student impact review forms. Right now, we currently don't have a way for students to directly tell the administration how administrative decisions are impacting them. This is something that we're already starting to incorporate as we're running, just as candidates, through our Ask.us platform, which is on our website. We've gotten a lot of really good policy feedback and a lot of feedback on administrative decisions.
We actually think that student government has abused their power in the past. For instance, we highly disagree with the decision to turn Speedway into a pedestrian walkway as opposed to a roadway. We think that UT students have gotten far too comfortable and that allowing cars back onto Speedway could be really helpful in teaching them some survival skills, maybe implementing only one crosswalk across all of campus. To really bring people together, and it would be a community hub.
And you know, I'm not sure about everyone in this audience, but the last time that I was truly happy on this campus was when I was watching Pitbull perform in the main lawn. And so one of our policies is to do more Pitbull concerts and only Pitbull, because we believe it raises community awareness.
Also, I'd like to ask Kate what exactly is so wrong about being a cartoon.
I actually don't have a problem with that. I think the Student Government Supreme Court wouldn't let a non-person take office, though.
That's upsetting.
A main pillar of our platform is that we really want to include as many student voices as possible in student government. One of the plans we have for that is to have open floor student government, where students can be paired with an assembly member to address an issue that they are passionate about. And this we hope will give students the opportunity to join a team to contribute to policy that they really hope to see changed on campus. And yeah.
Yeah, what I think is so unique about student government is our access to talking to administration. So a big thing about our open door student government is giving students access directly to go and talk to your dean, to go and talk to the president to make sure that the issues that you care about are being addressed to the people that need to get them.
I think the biggest thing why we're running is because we love this university, we love all you guys, everyone that we've met, and we're gonna be as transparent as possible. If that means we're walking up and down Speedway, sharing the policies of what we're doing with you guys, that's what we're gonna do. But like more in terms of policy, we're looking to have like an open forum, more open forums, almost every single month, bringing in students and faculty from all around the school. Whatever's going on, it's bigger than politics, bigger than anything else. We really want to come together as a community at the end of the day, make this university even better, and that's kind of at the forefront of our policies. We're the first alliance to publicly post our policies online, so we want to receive your feedback and what we can do to make this university even better.
The primary existence of student government in the first place is to advocate for the students, point blank period, no matter the division of issues or ideas or opinions or where you stand. Something that me and Nick came up with is uniting the campus wide. So what that looks like is going to organizational leaders biannually. So once a semester to, just like get their ideas or their opinions on the policies that we need to implement, because student government does implement those policies, but also ask them what resources they need. Is your organization struggling right now? Do you need more resources? Those kinds of things. We also came with the great idea of establishing the Student Connections Committee, where students across campus can get involved by sitting down, voicing their opinions on which curriculums need to stay, and also what resources or organizations what resources organizations definitely need.
One of the criticisms student government has faced in the past is a lack of transparency regarding the operations of the executive board. What level of transparency do you feel an executive alliance owes to the student body, and how will you strive to achieve that? Camille.
Yeah, so I've mentioned this before, but on day one of my administration, I will be moving into the Littlefield House. Some of you guys may be familiar with this building. So what we do essentially is I would move in and then install security cameras to live stream every room of the house at all times for maximum government transparency. And people have raised the question, will public indecency be an issue? And I can assure you guys that I am not sexually active, and I am also never nude. So that wouldn't be an issue, and due to these cameras being operable at all times, you would be able to see what I'm doing, and I would make sure to sort of narrate what I was thinking at all times.
And I will be wearing transparent clothing.
I think something that's really important to us is having town halls to make sure that students know what's going on throughout the student government, making sure that all of the funding is very clear, to make sure the students know what's going on and how we're operating.
In addition to that, we want to have anonymous policy feedback forms so students don't feel that they have to present in front of this town hall, but can still give us the feedback into our policy. We want to make sure that we are presenting our policy and its progress throughout our tenure, and make sure that students have the opportunity to shape it in the way that they hope to see go into effect.
One of my biggest grievances with student government is being told that I have to attend every student government meeting to figure out what my president and vice president are doing. That's not fair to me, and that's not fair to the students who also don't have the time to do that. If elected, Kelsey and I plan to have weekly town hall meetings, frequent social media posts, and have a chance for students to actually come in and talk to us or see us on Speedway or like common areas that you see on campus. Because accountability starts with us, and we want to push that onto all of our fellow students as well. Thank you.
So who here has ever been to office hours with professor or TA? We have one of our policies making SG the same way. We want to have the student government executive office hours on a weekly schedule so you can get in touch with us, our exec board. We want to throw open the doors of the SG office upstairs in the WCP so that y'all can come in. Student government shouldn't be a walled palace or an insiders club. If y'all want to come talk about issues, we're happy to make connections, facilitate meetings. If y'all also want to come get to know us and hang out, we'd love that too. But we're here to serve y'all and be present with y'all and meet y'all where y'all are at.
And in addition to that, we would have all of the meeting notes from every single meeting that we have, whether that's with administrators or with our own exec team, posted online. I think it's pretty simple. The people of Texas, and especially the students of UT, are owed transparency on this issue.
To answer the question, I think that student government owes the students everything, and that includes transparency. And that's why that's one of our campaign tenets. Town halls are amazing, and finding office hours are amazing. But a big thing for us is that we want to go to the students. Town halls are great until students are busy, have things to do, have org meetings to attend, and that means that students cannot make time to find student government. We want student government to find the students. Obviously, it's impossible for us to meet all 55,000 students at this university as much as we'd love to, but what we can do is we can empower and create access and communication channels between student government and all of the 1,212 organizations on campus that curate campus culture and create spaces for students to be interconnected while also bringing student government to them and where they are in their rooms for what's important to them.
Just a note, I worked on Longhorn Legislature Online. That was the first bill I passed this last year, which was the first open, transparent action that student government had done on their website to publish our legislation.
One of the things we talked about as soon as we stood up was the fact that students don't really feel represented with what's happening on campus right now. We have a certain policy framework, especially established around that. We want students to know the conversations that we're having with administration, and we want their voices to be explicitly heard in that process. So there's something called the President's Student Advisory Council, where we have direct meetings with the UT president. We want to make sure that we're building things that we talk to the president about based on stakeholders in the UT community. So if they're talking about something that impacts a certain student org, we talk to that student org, and we make sure that their perspective is getting in front of the UT administration.
Additionally, we're going to be increasing the amount of town halls that we're currently having. We've been on Speedway every day for the past week. We're going to be there every day this week, and we're going to be outside after, hopefully, we're elected. And honestly, a lot of students don't know when town halls are. A lot of students didn't know we had town halls. We cannot be effective as an executive alliance if we're not also publicizing this information in the correct avenues to students, and that's how we're going to be transparent.
Armando?
Hello. Okay. The goal of our administration and concerning getting the word out is radical transparency and accountability. So we have all heard about student government, but like most people, we don't know much about student government. I myself was actually rejected from my position in student government whenever I applied. But similar to what some companies do in radical transparency is that bi-weekly we'd be sending out a newsletter of all the agendas that Ben and I will be working on in our executive alliance. And then we would keep students informed alongside the town halls.
Yeah, and right now, whether, obviously we hope to win, but at the end of the day, we're doing this for you guys, and we're working on creating a website right now so that you can voice all your ideas. We already have a feedback form up online that will filter right into our website through our Instagram, Armando X Spin, and we're going to continue doing this for you guys, say, in the next couple of weeks. So thank you.
While Executive Alliance's duty is to serve the student body who elected them, they also have the opportunity to build relationships with UT administrators and work intimately with the Office of the Dean of Students. How will you balance ensuring UT's diverse campus communities are meaningfully represented with administrative pressure? Jaylen?
Unfortunately, what I think is the case right now is that we spend a lot of time trying to decide who to represent and who to uplift, as opposed to making sure that we're uplifting everybody. A lot of people go for this position, and what their plans are to bring their people in, to listen to their people, and only serve their people. Something that I think is really a point of pride for me and Nina is that our goal is not to, delve into politics. Our goal is not to delve into the differences that we have between each other. Our goal is really to focus on making sure that we're representing everybody, because that is our job. Our job is not to gatekeep what messages we do and do not say to the administration based on whether we agree with them or whether we don't. Our job is to make sure that all of those messages get sent, because that is the function of student government. It's a representative body for the students, and we need to remember that it's not you versus me, it's not the students versus the administration, it's us versus the problem.
Yeah, so that's something that we really wanted to consider when we were writing our policies. The first thing we did was talk to students. The next thing we wanted to do was make sure we could actually implement different parts of our policy. So two things we've already really started collaborating with the administration on. First is our late night grab and go program. That's in our food insecurity policy. We've already started talking to University Housing and Dining about the feasibility of this program because it is ambitious. The second thing is when we're talking about our mental health policy, when we're talking about expanding resources, high stress week, exam programming, things like that. We also talked to officials at CMHC to make sure that this was feasible and also about the constraints of their institution.
Additionally, it's our job to be in front of administration and represent students in the rooms that they cannot be in. And so our goal is to be 100% advocates for students, the way that they're feeling, and convey those messages to administration. That's why we're currently working with the initiatives that Kira talked about, because we're going to make sure that we are giving everybody not only a fair say in student government, but
Yeah, so it's no secret that I think the student body's opinion tends to run very differently of administration's opinion. I think ignoring that difference or pretending we could get around it in some way isn't the most productive thing we could do. What we can do is accurately represent what the common opinion on campus is, and what people are truly saying, don't want to sugarcoat things, and then work with administration from there to see what's possible. I think there's a lot of things on campus that don't require an all-out stalemate, and those are the things that are most practical and pragmatic to be working on.
Yeah, because building trust with administrators is huge. As student government, we have a small budget. We need to work so closely with these people and show them that we're here to work alongside them. And we're still willing to stand up for students with SB 17 and all the other initiatives, the state. We want to stand up and show that we can resist. We can do so legally, but we want to make sure that these staff members feel like we're here to support them, not like we're out to get them.
Kelsey?
First and foremost, I want to say pressure from administration will not phase us. That will not hinder our progress. We are running to be executive lines of the student government, emphasis on students. We're representing the students' opinions and those opinions only. One of the beautiful things about our Student Connections Committee that we've outlined in our policy is that it is vague for a reason as to who can join that committee. It's going to include a lot of different voices, a lot of different opinions. That way we don't have to pick which opinion should be addressed. Within those opinions that are brought up, we get to bring them to administration and we get to say, this is what the students are concerned about. This is what we're focused on, and we could be able to just say, we hope that you work with us on this. Obviously, we're going to be very great partners in this, and we just can't wait to see what comes out of this policy.
As we mentioned earlier, we really want to make sure that there are a lot of opportunities for students to represent their opinions, their needs, and their interests in our administration. And we hope that that will go onto the administration level as well, because we will be able to kind of present those interests in meetings with administrators. In my current position, I've had a lot of experience with gathering feedback from students through town halls and presenting that to administration to actually make effective change. And I believe that a lot of lessons that I've learned in that position, Sarah and I will be able to incorporate into our administration and our tenure in this position.
Yeah, seconding that, like our slogan is called "Y'all means all," so we truly want to make sure that every single student's voice is being advocated for to administration. So a big thing for us is making sure we're representing all students at the university.
Connor?
We plan to work very closely with the administration. I've held a long eye contact with Arch Manning before, so he's on our side. We plan to work with presidents like Zelensky to end the war in Ukraine on day one of the interim.
Yeah! Wow.
Thank you. And of course, Jim Davis. We were both big fans of this comic strip, Garfield, and we read it every single weekend. And so, by no means will we be shunning away from the administration.
I think it's no secret that students at UT feel ignored by the administration, but I can assure you that I am a very difficult person to ignore. I am deeply, deeply annoying, and I plan on bringing that to all of my interactions with administration. I think it is a very telling question that we're talking about administrative pressure in student government. Clearly, there is pressure to silence the voices of students, and that is something that I find unacceptable.
Hello. So, what I believe is how do we represent diverse orgs with administrative pressures? So, with that being said, let's say Ben and I hopefully are elected. One of the first orders of business is what we'll do is send an email to the heads of every single org at UT, and hopefully every single one comes to the meeting. With that being said, we clarify our goals for the duration of our administration, and we convey that to each org, and hopefully they convey that to each members of their orgs.
As a student organization sponsored by the university, student government is held to the standard of institutional neutrality, meaning they cannot make political statements, comment on current events, or take positions on social issues. How will you comply with this standard while raising awareness about the issues affecting our campus community? Nina?
As of recently, that's the biggest conversation that student government is facing. So for those that might read the Texan that are in this audience, y'all might have heard of the appropriations budget that was recently passed to fund Turning Point USA among 73 student organizations that applied. And student government had voted unanimously to pass appropriations in an effort to preserve institutional neutrality. Now, there was a bit of a disconnect between what students wanted to happen in that situation and what ended up happening in that situation. And being one of two individuals that was there on the night, we heard a lot of student protests, and those are very important and valid voices. How do we change the system? And again, going back to student government reform, we go back to our financial appropriations and we revisit the grading rubric system. We understand how do we build in institutional neutrality into the grading rubric system if that is what student government wants to do. And then we bring it to a bigger conversation and collaborate with what administration wishes are, but ultimately we have complete autonomy to change our governing.
Yeah, let me just be clear, student government shouldn't be funding political orgs or political initiatives, period. But even beyond that, even beyond looking at what student government shouldn't do, we should focus on what student government should do. There are just everyday issues that students face, and student government should be focused on that. Like Kate was saying earlier, filling potholes and making sure the trash is taken out of time. It's simple, it's easy, we can put the fries in the back, the mic through the PCL, and make a difference where it matters most.
Yeah, that's not to say that you ignore student voices. I think it's important to be very clear with administration that the student body agrees or disagrees with something. That's made clear to them in person in meetings, and that's also made clear by facilitating meetings between administration and student organizations that explicitly disagree with them. I think there's often a disconnect where these orgs can't actually talk to anyone, even in student government, much less administration. So facilitating meetings, but also focusing on the possible. Politics is the art of the possible.
We do not believe in being non-neutral. However, we believe that we can communicate our opinions in secret ways. Gen Z slang has been talked about recently a lot, and we think that if we talk about political issues using enough slang, only you guys will know what we think, and the people who would get us in trouble would never know.
We plan on watching a lot of young Twitch streamers and consuming a lot of TikTok in order to always be up to date on which forms of slang will confuse people over the age of 30 the most, in order to keep administration off of our scent. That's it, thank you.
Yeah, so we think right now is actually a very critical time to implement safeguards for our institutional neutrality. That's why our policy is built around meeting students where they're at and making sure we're representing all voices, not just those voices around us that agree with us. That's why we have SUI collaboration frameworks. That's why we have student org collaboration frameworks. We want to work for students, not for platform or for political reasons.
Additionally, this is actually in our policy paper number 3, the budget review and reform policy. It's built around the appropriations issue, and Kira and I really wanted to focus on implementing those safeguards for student government and making sure that in the spaces that we both are in campus, we can push back on the administration when we need to, and also let the administration know how students are feeling when they're feeling that way. So.
Everyone up on the stage and everyone in this crowd and every student here at the University of Texas has value, and everyone has diverse opinions and perspectives. That's what makes this university so great. We don't want to hide away from those good opinions and just run on a fully neutral basis. We want them to be heard, but at the same time, we want to treat it in an equal way, a mature way. We want everyone to come together, to bring their ideas together. Obviously, everyone matters, everyone has value, and what the most important thing that we're doing is holding these open forums to allow students from diverse perspectives and backgrounds, all political organizations here on campus, to come in, discuss these matters in a mature way without going against each other and obviously the values of this entire university.
I think it's imperative that student government continues to uphold the mission of institutional neutrality, making sure we look at our bylaws, look at a very transparent way in which we're funding organizations to make sure that we continue that neutrality, to make sure that all the correct organizations are getting funding.
In regards to raising awareness on issues on campus, there are a lot of student orgs out there doing a lot of great work on campus, and we want to make sure that a lot of SG resources are going to those orgs doing that work, so we can maintain our institutional neutrality while allowing students to advocate for issues that they're passionate about on campus.
Camille, you've already used up your allotted time for questions. While high aspirations and campaigns are valuable, the reality of an alliance's term is that you're limited to what can be accomplished within a year. What is your realistic plan to achieve your goals in this time frame, and what would you prioritize?
Yeah, so I said it earlier, we have $115,000 in the student government budget, so we gotta be scrappy. We gotta focus on what we can do, and when it comes down to it, there are some things that Kate and I have focused on a lot, and those are making campus more 24/7, updating registration, putting records in PCL, and just all these other tangible, everyday, quality of life issues. Beyond the student government budget, there are other sources of funding, like the Student Services Budget Committee, the Provost's Office, the Unions Board, and we really want to make sure that we're leveraging every available source of support to not only make big promises and dream big, but turn those into reality.
Sure, and we've made sure that all of our policies are already possible by meeting with the heads of these organizations. So we met with Chris Carter, the head of UT Libraries, to determine that it's feasible to make the Tower Library 24/7. Dr. Tyus and Jasco from University Housing and Dining to make sure it's possible to make Jester Market and Kins Market 24/7. Met with the head of the registrar's office to make sure it's feasible to update registrations, since registration's as old as I am.
One of the things that me and Nick were really big on when we were constructing our policy was affordability for students. One of the things that we really think we can get done is expanding food accessibility for students, particularly when it comes to the UT Outpost. UT Austin has around a $4 billion budget and $150 million in revenue for UHD. Out of that, $150 million in revenue for UHD, which is University Housing and Dining. Around $90 million of that is spent, which means there's much more to allocate for students in need. Expanding these UT Outposts to Central Campus, where freshmen and sophomores can really be able to grab the food that they need whenever they need it, will be very useful, and also it's very feasible in my opinion. Yeah.
So when Kira and I were building our policy, the main focus was feasibility. We did not want to make any lofty promises. We wanted students to be able to point to something in a year and say, hey, this is something that I voted for and I changed. I like to say that we're thinking about being an administration, not running on a campaign. Additionally, our policy is built upon amplifying existing initiatives and collaborating with well-established organizations. An example of that is our collaboration with Thrive and our allocation of resources for mental health at orientation. We're giving students access to Thrive at orientation so that when they get down to the 40 acres, they already have the resources to build off of and utilize when things get bad.
Yeah, so it's all about not demanding more of institutions. It's about giving students what they need when they need it. UT already has so many resources, but students don't know where they are or how to access them. So it's about expanding awareness, expanding implementation, and making sure students get what they need when it, when they're not already in a crisis. Camille.
You know that saying, shoot for the stars and you'll land on the moon? Well, that's exactly what we hope to do with UT's first ever space elevator. We're planning on expanding the tower up, and up until it hits space. We're going to be focusing on getting funding from political action committees. Sam, the head of the ESB, made us aware of one called Funny Pack. That might be helpful to us. Also, the NRA has already given us some standpoint. Yeah.
A big part of our funding goal comes down to one key event beyond the Pitbull concerts, and that's going to be UFC on the main lawn.
Yeah.
We believe that if we can get the UFC to sponsor us, we're making enough money to do all of our goals.
I'd also like to take this time to present Armando with the poem I wrote about him.
Oh.
It's an acrostic. A is for authoritarian. It's for rebellion. M is for married.
University of Texas is already an amazing institution. We just want to make it better. When we were planning our policies back in August, we were looking at the little inefficiencies that you see day to day. And we established 19 policies that we plan to bring to you guys, all of which we want to implement within 1 year. There's no filler policies. We're doing this for you guys, and obviously if we want to add any more, we will. But at the end of the day, we want every single policy that we're planning on doing to be made in the next year. I think this is the time to do it, but I have a question for Kate and Bailey. When you plan to keep the campus open 24/7, TCL already requires $40,000 per year to keep it open. How do you plan to raise the funds to keep people working and also keep the lights on?
Sure, well, do you know who made the PCL 24/7? Student government in 2012. We can do the same thing. A lot of that money came from a deal between the provost's office, student government, the president's office, and UT athletics at the time. We would work on making a similarly feasible deal in order to facilitate that.
Yeah, no, the playbook is still there. We just need someone to run it. We already spoke, as Kate mentioned earlier, with Chris Carter, who's Director of Operations for UT Libraries. And he told us that if students want it, Libraries is willing to reallocate the resources to make the library 24/7. And we've also been having similar conversations.
Yeah. Feasibility is an important part of our platform. A couple of things that we hope to achieve, prioritize feasible policy for our 1 year in office are expanding the graduation regalia program in the UT Outpost, which is already been started, so it would just take a little bit more funding and support to continue and expand. We also are aware of so many resources on UT campus that we really want to compile and make accessible to the larger student population. One of those is through the Parking and Transportation Services, which offers resources like Shorewalk and Lyft, Shorewalk, Lyft, night rides, and other ways to get around campus. But we want to make sure that all of these resources that are already existing on campus are accessible and made available for students to be able to use.
Yeah, I think a lot of what makes our policies attainable is that we're already leveraging organizations on campus that can do the work to get this done.
So, I'm sure a lot of you have seen on our Instagram, we use the verbiage of promises. And promises are something that, by and large, people are very jaded to the idea of student government because we make a lot of promises and they don't often get done. Right. But one thing I will say to y'all is that I welcome you to boo me and Nina off the stage at commencement if we do not do everything that we are saying we're going to do. Because we have talked to all the people across the university that would need to make all of these things happen, and therefore we are very confident we can promise them. There actually was an initiative to bring back 24/7 libraries as part of an agency, and that was shot down by the university, but I absolutely love the idea, and I'd like to see that happen again. But by and large, something that we really care about is the idea of reforming the system to ensure that things last beyond when we're here, because we do only have 1 year. So we have an idea to have a transitions archive to ensure that institutional knowledge of student government is not lost after one administration, and that there is a very clear process for communicating to the new administration coming in all the things that were in process of being completed that had not yet reached their completion by the time the administration changes.
That's good.
As with any legislative organization, student government is limited by financial constraints to enact change on campus. How have each of your alliances taken the budget into account when thinking about your policies and goals, and how have you reached those decisions?
Yeah, so one of my favorite things to do, well, maybe not favorite, but one of the things I do find myself doing quite often is going through UT's budget nowadays. And if you look through there, there are a few different sources of funding that go towards student affairs. One of the things that's really cool is the Student Services Budget Committee. As Vice President, I'd be chairing that committee. We also get to pick some of the members. But all I have to say, take for example the UT shuttle buses, all those routes that go around campus. The 640 has less than 100 riders a day on the weekends. The Student Services Budget Committee funds that at $6 million a year. Being able to use those same funds that are already in place to reroute on the weekends that bus to HEB, it would take a lot of work with Cap Metro, and I can't say that it'll happen overnight, but being able to use funds that are already in place, programs that we already have, and leverage all of the available resources to student government means that we can really get a lot done around campus.
So a lot of the initiatives that get passed by the executive branch are budgeted out in an annual budget report that is delineated by the Financial Affairs Committee in Student Government. And we do have, as mentioned previously, a lower student government budget, but there's also kind of a bit of a reason for it. When we look at the current problem with student government budget, it's the fact that a lot of the resources and initiatives that are being passed don't have any financial transparency to students and collaborative organizations that can assess how they can work in tandem with student government. Our first action day item is actually to run a financial audit on the last year's entirety of last year's funding for special projects and appropriations to see what resources have we honestly wasted and also what funding could be better suited to fit into all of our initiatives. Because we're getting a set budget from the Executive Alliance on what we can realistically do with special projects, we will have to see and collaborate with Assembly on what budget we are given, and then also look at any individual stipends that can be given to specific awards and collaborative projects across the way. But we really, in essence, want student government to...
Here. Yeah, so the budget is a very important consideration. That's one of the reasons that we built our policy based off of expanding existing resources. So one of our most important examples is our food insecurity policy. One really important thing there is our most ambitious program, which is the late night grab and go program. We actually have funds in our food insecurity policy with the other two platforms, which is the food support fund and the Dine a Dollar donation drive that can go towards actually getting money towards that. In addition, when we're expanding resources, we're most of the time increasing awareness, and we're also partnering with different parts of the university, alumni networks, things like that, to make sure that our initiatives are feasible and are able to be implemented.
Kind of like Kira was saying, all of our policy is sort of built around this same mantra of making sure that everything is feasible. As it pertains to the budget, a lot of our initiatives don't actually use a lot of money from student government. It's just reallocation of resources. It's amplification of already existing systems and making sure that we're shining a light on the places that students can't currently see. There's a lot of incredible resources at the University of Texas at Austin, and we want to make sure students get them.
Yes, when it comes to budgeting, we are very aware of some big problems haunting this university. For example, the debt. Before coming to this debate, I printed out this debt block from the website that UT has on its website. And look at that.
I love you, Connor.
Thank you. Over $1 trillion in debt, all in this university. So we will be opening up Doubt, the Department of UT expenditures, in order to cut down on these frivolous expenditures. Is that a word? I don't know. And anyway, we're just going to cut down the debt.
Also, we'd be using our personal stipends to, as we said, like people aren't invested enough in student government, and we think that could really change if we were a lot hotter. So we're going to be investing a substantial amount of money in our own physical transformation to make us as hot as possible and willing to get a DBL and a next step.
Looks like team president, bro.
Thank you. I would say for most of our policies, most of the money within student government will be spent towards budget allocation, but within our policies, it is not very monetary intensive. For example, our proposed grade replacement program, similar to what UT El Paso does and UTD, where you'd be able to replace up to a certain amount of grades, you would retake that class and replace it on your transcript. Whereas that does not typically require money, nor would a true dead week. If the assignments were to be taken beforehand, before the dead week, before finals, there is no feasible way where it would cost an intensive amount of money.
Sarah? I think a lot of our policies are leveraging on existing organizations that can get the work done. So like using Longhorn Developers Program to help us fix the IDA, the degree audit, to make sure that students who are in pre-health organizations are able to make sure they have all the courses they need without having to take the extra step of going to their counselor is something that we get leverage for an existing proposal.
Most of our policy points do not most of our policy points are not extremely expensive, and so we're hoping that a lot of them are able to be feasible and implemented within the year. As Sarah mentioned, we're really hoping to work on existing programs and with UT departments and student boards to kind of expand programs that are already in motion to actually meet student demand.
While a variety of initiatives and campaigns exist in student government to serve the student body, the reality is that much of the student body remains willingly ignorant about the operations and goals of student government. How will you proactively tackle the pervasive problem of student indifference towards student government? Camille?
Yeah, we see this as a big issue. As I said before, cosmetic transformations can be helpful, but it's just about raising awareness for student government. So one thing that Connor and I are committed to doing is to utilizing some of our extensive budget to print out very large 100 by like 800 foot banners of our faces across the side of Jester and Kim Sullivan and major buildings on campus, you know, pointing at students saying, "We're watching you. We care about you." Just so people know that our eyes are on them. Okay, yeah.
So like Kira and I have highlighted before, we come from two different parts of the University of Texas. We have our ear to the streets. We have been outside every single day on the Speedway, and we're going to continue to do that this week. We're going to continue to do it after, like I said, hopefully we're elected. Additionally, with our legislation tracker and our initiative tracker, we're hoping to sort of open the door to student government. The reason that students aren't involved right now or don't know what's going on is because there is a level of apathy towards student government because they don't know what's happening. No one is talking to them.
Yeah, on top of that, it's really important of our idea of thinking like an administration. I think a lot of apathy comes from the fact that people make lofty campaign promises and get in office and don't get anything done. So we have things like our progress tracker so that the student body can hold us accountable. And then we also have things like that collaboration framework so that the representatives of each college can talk about the issues within their college and connect with their students. Because they relate to them, they might not relate to us. So we want to be getting to the communities themselves and actually hearing the issues they face and how they think we can improve their day lives.
Yeah, so I think me and Bailey have shown our commitment to combating apathy from student government utilizing my little boy's George Washington costume from Amazon and his not so little boy's Abraham Lincoln costume. Now, that doesn't have to be that silly all the time, but there is real apathy on campus. And I think one easy way to combat that is incorporating student government initiatives and education about student government into the residence hall curriculum. I'm an RA at Kinsolving. We have to give our residents curriculum through bulletin boards and events. Implementing student government newsletters, bulletin boards would be super easy and is a system that already exists that we could just plug into.
But also, when we get elected, don't just judge us by the things we say, the newsletters sound out, or the pretty graphics we put on social media. When there's a library with a PCL, when you can see how many seats are left you're registering, That's how you can know that we're getting stuff done, and that's how you can count on student government to accomplish real, tangible change on campus.
Yeah, the easiest way to show somebody you're there is to actually have an impact on your life. So,
Kelsey and I believe that students are disillusioned first and foremost. They feel like the student government has forgotten them, which I believe is true. First and foremost, we need to restore trust and remind students that we're here for them. And we're not only here to campaign during campaigning season, but when it lose the election, remind them that we're still going to show up at their orgs or stop at their tables on Speedway. So I think that's what gets lost in translation a lot as well.
We've also implemented in our policies where students can see exactly what we're working on and also the status. So in progress, approved or declined, just so that we can establish that student trust. Obviously, you know, students know a student government exists, but they don't know exactly what we're working on. And when we show them that, they give us that trust that we need, and we can show them that we're here to work for them, because that's what we're here for.
We think that one of the best ways to combat student apathy is by giving more students an opportunity to take part in student government. As we mentioned earlier, we are hoping to enact open door student government policies so that students are able to contribute to and affect change on issues that are affecting them on campus. We really hope that having this opportunity to get involved with student government and actually understand how it works and how it can change their lives will allow them to kind of reduce that apathy from the community.
Yeah, seconding that, having students be able to champion their own issues that they care about, getting involved, being able to talk to legislators, being able to talk to the executive branch will help them understand what's going on in student government so they can be directly involved.
Nina?
I really do believe the problem comes down to a fundamental idea that students have no stake in student government. We haven't given a reason to stay involved in student government beyond an org meeting or a town hall. Why do you come back? We need people to come back to us, continue to engage with us, and to continue to collaborate with us. I also believe that that starts with freshmen. Freshman engagement is something that student government really needs to prioritize to have a building block effect that at the start of your first 4 years, you've already met your representative at orientation. You understand how student government works, what our initiatives are, and also Jaylen and I want to publish our policy platform for freshmen coming into orientation this upcoming fall so that they are aware of what we're doing as their student body president and vice president. Apathy is because you have no stake or say in the process, and you need to come back to us, and that's what Jaylen and I really want out of everybody that engages with student government, to keep coming back.
Camille, you've already used your allotted time.
Let her go. Let her go.
All of you guys sitting in the crowd right now, everyone up here has the greatest ideas. But what we really love the most is getting to talk to each and every one of you, walking up and down Speedway every single day, coming up to you guys, hearing your ideas, talking about our policies. But when it comes to student government and being on this stage, we want you guys to also be up here with us. And that means, obviously, we'll walk every single day to every single organization if we can, all year. And if that takes all of our time, that's what we're doing. We're committed to doing this the entire year, nothing else on our plates, meeting with you guys individually, whether it be student body reps, within each school, within each organization, we're going to do that. And if that means that takes all of our time, that's what we're going to do for you guys.
Each of you, as an executive alliance, come from different backgrounds and have a range of experience. From your perspectives, why do you believe your executive alliance would be able to lead student government better than the other executive alliance candidates? Nicholas.
As a working student who probably works on average 20 to 25 hours a week, I'll start off by saying it sucks, but it also teaches you empathy and how to handle people or talk with different people and get to know people. People act out for a reason, or people are upset about things for a reason. But I also think that helps build your character and helps you understand people instead of just judging or quick to assume things about certain people.
Around the time that I've been here on campus, I've been able to communicate with multiple organizational leaders about the resources that they so desperately need. I know how their organizations work, I know how they function, and I know the goals that they're trying to get done at the end of the day. I don't think that a effective executive alliance will disregard these things, and I think I have valuable experience as to test to what these students need in these moments as we're, if we are to be elected that entire year.
Jan?
Yeah, so we kind of harp on this. Kira and I come from different parts of campus, and that is a strength of us. We come from different parts of campus, and that is one of our biggest strong suits. Kira has a ton of student government experience. I don't have any student government experience. A collaboration between us allows me to give a perspective of an apathetic student who doesn't know anything about student government until they do some research, and Kira is somebody who knows the inner workings of student government. Additionally, our communities are largely separate on campus right now, and so it allows us to bring different perspectives together, and it's created a really, really good policy paper where we have student voices involved in it.
Yeah, like Jane was saying, I'm a part of UPC, he's a part of the Divine Nine. Our communities are completely different. We face completely different issues on this campus. So when we're both talking to those respective communities and bringing them together, we're able to make some real change. It's one of our greatest strengths because it means that we're able to represent students in a different way than I think any other executive alliance. Jane?
Interestingly enough, I think me and Nina's story is actually relatively similar in the idea that we do have very different backgrounds. Nina has a lot of very intimate student government knowledge being in student government right now. And since I've been a freshman, I have been in scholarship organizations, and spirit organizations, and service organizations, and have risen to a leader among leaders in all of them. I think there are two things that you need in order to get things done in student government. One is the very intimate knowledge about how the student government works, because it's very different than the federal government or state or local governments, but also you need a network of people that support you across campus just by virtue of the integrity we lead with. And I think that's a strength that me and Nina have. Furthermore, we're also communication students, right? I'm an advertising major, and Nina is a political communications major and informatics major. And therefore, I think there's a difference between being a communications scholar and also being pre-law or pre-gov or public too. And those are all absolutely amazing programs that have a lot of values displayed. But I think between Nina being pre-law and me being advertising, we cover a lot of ground.
Sure. So I think both me and Bailey come from outside the student government bubble a little bit, but we don't come from outside the policy bubble. I'm an RA, I deal with enforcing the tickiest of tackiest of tiny rules for freshmen, and I also see how their lives are shaped by the policy that SG makes and by the policy that administration chooses to enforce.
Yeah, no, and I've been interning at the Net Strauss Institute for Civic Life since my freshman year. I feel like I've kind of seen campus from every angle. I got one major in COLA, one major in CNS. I work over at Moody. I've served in campus ministries like Ignite and Revive. I've also had the opportunity to work at Walgreens part-time even just to help me out tuition. And there's just so many perspectives here, and I want to make sure that we're able to represent as many as we can.
Yeah, Bailey's in ministry, I'm in Longhorn Hellraisers, among other things, including biking to Alaska. So we've dealt with creating policy, enforcing policy, and also just seeing how that affects other orgs. Texas 4000 doesn't get funding.
Through my experience with Plaintiff Student Association and my work with Texas Orange Jackets, I've learned the power of student advocacy. Through Sarah's experience in student government, we're hoping that our partnership will be effective in learning how to advocate for our students and also create effective change. Both of us have experience with leading our community and trying to create change on issues that we see facing our community, and we're really hoping that that experience and that passion will make us a really good pair to be leading SG.
Yeah, second that, we come from like different backgrounds and different communities. I remember the first time I ever heard about student government, I was running for first year representative, and I was a commuter student. I lived at home, and I really cared about parking, and that was the first time that I got involved. And being on Speedway, talking to students, seeing what they care about, it was really important going to small organizations so every student gets represented in student government. Being a part of the small organizations has really helped us, I think, have a larger perspective of the students that we're representing.
Armando?
Thank you. I would say the temptation is, of course, to just list Ben and I's resume, right? Whether that's from Ben's work in continually rowing, or in my work as training to be a walk-on for the track team, or project runs, or anything in between. That it is an easy temptation to do that. But I'd say Yes, we are qualified by a resume, sure, okay, of course. So is everyone else on the stage. But what is our why? And our why is because we want to be true agents of change, and we want to see the good in everyone and bring it out through our policies, through individual level, by working with people, sure, on a macro level, but striving to focus not just on y'all, but on you.
Yeah, I think it's good to note too, like obviously Armando and I come from similar backgrounds in the sense that we've always set ambitious goals for ourselves, and when we look at something, whether it be this campaign, we're all in on it, nothing else is going on. Armando's pursuing a double major and pursuing a triple major. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. We're looking to do this for you guys, and it's our most important policy is you.
I mean, I know you look at me and then you think, wow, you know, what's this like white, you know, pretty Christian guy from the suburbs gonna say? And I have ADHD. Camille?
Yeah, I would say that my experience with dating and doing improv comedy has made me very comfortable with rejection, which I think is really important. I would also add that me and Connor come from very different backgrounds. The lighting right now makes the lights more orange than his is more blue. But we really value people of diverse backgrounds, and we think that things that make us different are the things that make this university so special.
That wraps up our moderated question portion of the debate. Now we go on to the audience Q&A portion. This portion includes questions submitted through QR code at the start of the debate. I will ask all legitimate questions in order of submission. Questions should be directed to all executive alliances, a specific alliance, or any alliance who wishes to answer. No follow-ups or back-to-back questions are allowed. As during the general debate, candidates are given 1 minute to respond, and executive alliances that are mentioned by name are allowed a 30-second rebuttal. The first question. Student government testified at the Texas State Capitol last fall to advocate for student safety in terms of civil discourse. How will your executive alliance prioritize the balance between your relationship between the Texas Legislature, Jim Davis, the UT System Board of Regents, and the University Administration itself? Nina?
So the first thing is that all of these worlds are interconnected, right? And there's a lot of backroom dealing that goes on in almost every level of those relationships, to be very transparent. So as an executive alliance, Jaylen and I are held to a standard of communicating exactly what our patterns and habits are and where we're moving next. So for instance, if we have a meeting with Jim Davis and there's a conversation happening on the assembly floor that's related to legislation that the assembly wants passed that we can move forward, we will invite assembly members to come with us to those meetings with Jim Davis. If we have students that have specific concerns and questions about what's going on in the legislature, we will publish an informative guide of how does politics impact student government, and also how does politics impact you, right? Being informative is not being political, but really Jaylen and I want to communicate as openly as possible, the Comm Scholar perspective, on what we are doing and what we have done to make you feel that you understand how student government works.
Armando?
Absolutely. So, concerning Jim Davis and putting the university and Texas legislature together, we, of course, we're advocating for radical transparency, and that is keeping those lines of communication open 24/7. 24/7, making sure that we are all aligned on the same page. And whenever we're not, we address it together and not against each other. So.
Siona?
Throughout all this, we want to emphasize that the students come first, and as a governing body, we are there to represent the students. And it is an important part of our role that we will have to communicate with and communicate expectations from students to the administration, but we do want to emphasize that we are there to represent the needs and interests of the students, and we want to make sure that that is not something that is unclear. Like, that is our primary role and goal in this position.
We're not the University of Texas legislature or the University of Texas. I think we start acting as such. Furthermore, we don't work for the university works for us. So any communication that we have with Jim Davis or Texas legislature will be either televised or public, because Kelsey and I have nothing to hide, and our interests, I hope, are aligned with the best interests of the university students as well.
As someone that was who has been like frequently protesting about certain issues on campus, I know what it feels like for your executive alliance to tell you we can't do such and such because we have pressure from administration, or because the administration, the student transparency and communication works this way. That's not how that should work. That's not why you elected. I think me and Nick both think that that has to change. The UT administration, they should be able to agree or come to some compromise as to what issues need to be solved.
Yeah, so when it comes down to it, we all came here to study and to learn, and that means you should be able to study in the departments you want to study in. That means you should be able to gather and speak out in ways that aren't disruptive but still let you express your right to free speech. And we know that sometimes, especially the state government, can oppose those rights. We want to stand up for students' rights to academic freedom. When it comes down to it, our university is one of the greatest in the world, and it's the greatest in the world because of the incredible diversity of perspectives and thoughts and people that we have here. And I want to be clear, there is a dramatic power imbalance between student government and state legislature. We can't promise we'll be able to solve every issue, but we'll do everything we can to ensure that Longhorns have academic freedom they need to study what they want and be able to gather, protest, and speak out in the ways they need to.
Sure, I think that means advocating in a realistic way with those relationships that you form with administration. That doesn't mean that you need to be yelling at people all the time, but it does mean that you have to have clear boundaries of where you're willing to start and stop for the student body. Camille.
Look, those guys have been trying to hang out with us for like so long, and it's getting annoying. Like, everybody in the Texas legislature is like always texting us and being like, let's hang out, like, let's, get together. Because actually, me and Connor originally met in the NRA Cornhole League, which a lot of those guys are in, if you don't know. But we're really just gonna strive to be like a cool, chill executive alliance, like the kind of executive alliance you could, like, I don't know, hang out, like grab a beer with come November. Yeah, I'd say like that's pretty much our approach to our relationships with those bros.
Yeah, I mean, as aspiring autocrats, we love what the current administration has been doing. We hope they will continue to keep on scanning syllabi to look for material they disagree with politically, and that they will keep on shutting student voices because that's what we plan to do when we get in office. So they seem very cool to us, and we hope to hang out soon.
Yep.
I can speak on this because I'm a member of a community who's consistently felt disenfranchised at this university, not only since its inception, but today. It's our job as an executive alliance to convey how the students are feeling, and when students are feeling upset, it's our job to convey that. We believe, Kira and I, that we have the expertise to push back where we need to push back, and additionally work with the administration where we need to. Our administration will be built on academic freedom and advocating for that 100%.
Also, a lot of our advocacy is built on the idea of helping students move through constraints that are in place right now. So part of our student org training series is about like chapter 13, which focuses on how student organizations can assemble. Making sure we train students on what they can and cannot do so that they're still able to express things like their protest, like their dissent, like being able to meet in public spaces, but that they're doing so under what the administration allows so that we kind of reach a happy medium wherever we can, because we never want to infringe on.
This question is from Vince Castillo. Will you restore or re-register student government agencies? Jaden.
Yeah, so I think I'm uniquely suited to speak on this one because I was a member of an executive agency and I was the co-director of my agency when the dissolution happened. So what we kind of envision for the agencies is a form of restoration, but not one that's exactly like what it was before. The issue that the administration brought up was that there was a lot of issues with efficiency, and that's extremely important, especially when our budget is so small. However, the purpose of those organizations was not to be efficient. It was to give students an avenue for advocacy on our campus, and they're missing that today. So I want to bring it back, but I also want to work within things that have been established now. Like there's the first year fellowship that replaced Longboard legislative aides. Where can we do things like that? Where can we bring back the executive agencies? But the most important thing is still giving students a way to be involved in student government in a way that isn't the assembly, that isn't the Supreme Court, that isn't traditional methods, but it still looks like letting them be involved in advocacy.
This is a clarifying question. Could you repeat the question? Somebody in the front row was playing with their flip-flop.
Will you restore or re-register student government agencies?
So this is something I've thought about a lot, and in our policy platform, I want to direct you guys to something called ad hoc committee assembly. Essentially, we have a built-in framework already in the existing student government constitution that delivers an idea of an ad hoc committee, which can be focused around any special interest issue. The beautiful thing about ad hocs is that any individual can join, as long as it's chaired by an individual that is a student government representative. So we would like to establish ad hocs for any special topic issue that students bring to us, or that we prompt towards assembly representatives that might want to chair an ad hoc themselves. This will allow for us to actually legitimately bring in more students to student government, increase numbers, but also have a similar system to agencies. Because what was great about agencies is that it gave students an opportunity to be in student government when they were not elected. And ad hocs is the legitimate way that exists in our governing docs that we can do that right now. And Jaylen and I want to see that plan happen in actuality.
Where you used your allotted time for the question? Sarah?
We plan on bringing back an open door student government, so any student can come with an issue they care about. They can be championed with an individual in the legislative branch. They can get connected to administration, and they can be, you don't have to be elected, you can just walk in with an issue you care about, and you can get connected and set up with people that can help change that issue.
Yeah, so Kate and I do want to bring back agencies. We see them as an incredible opportunity for students to get involved in student government. It's for y'all, after all. And we want to make it to where it's not something where you have to be handpicked for some committee or personally selected by an elected official. We want every student who's passionate about advocacy to have the opportunity to be involved in student government. So Vince, I'm glad to hear that. That was a really good question. But yeah, we do want to make sure that student government agencies are back so that students can be able to take part in student government.
Yeah, agencies make the system more meritocratic. Don't have to know somebody to be in an agency. Don't have to know really anything to join an agency. Agencies can teach freshmen, and they help create the next generation of SG leaders, and also leaders in other organizations on campus. They create a type of involvement that I don't think can be fostered in any other way. So we would bring them back.
Yeah, because a lot of the role of student government is making those connections with administrators and staff members, and being able to give students the opportunity to make those connections is training and raising up the next generation of leaders to be well equipped to be able to be involved in student government, student advocacy across campus.
So I think the biggest thing that we've heard is that these agencies were inefficient at first, but we want to bring them back. I think the reason that they weren't efficient is because there's a little bit of disconnect there. We really want to intervene and work with every single agency that we bring back, so that there is no way an argument can come and saying, oh, these are inefficient, we need to do away with them. So that's why we plan on bringing them back. At the same time, we want to make sure that they're going to come back and actually do work. But at the same time, we know everyone is motivated, and we want to work with them to ensure that this motivation continues, and there is no reason that we can do away with them again.
Jane, you've used your allotted time. You have a question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not for you guys, right?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So this is specifically directed to Nina. How do ad hoc committees function in equivalencies like agencies when they don't have the same autonomy or funding to like carry out advocacy?
So the reason why I was focusing on ad hocs is because it specifically exists in our governing docs already. There is nothing in our student government constitution that lists agencies, so that would be a special project initiative that we could focus on later in time. But immediately getting started on day one, Ad hoc committees can be established again by any representative, and it allows students to come in and be a part of student government if they have a special interest that they are voicing. And we want this to happen again on day one. So a really great question on your part. We're not against working in the framework to bring agencies back over time, but again,
How will you ensure quieter or underrepresented student groups are actually heard?
I think I touched a little bit on this prior, but going to those organizations each semester, biannually, and asking what they need, I think this not only gives them an opportunity to express the resources that they so desperately need, but the concerns at hand that they have. I feel like oftentimes, you know, the misrepresented or marginalized organizations on campus also don't have the opportunity to voice exactly what they need because they don't have anyone coming to them. There shouldn't be a reason why you're having to post on social media for your student government and for administration to see what you need. We should be coming to you.
So one thing I kind of want to reemphasize is that, in particular in my community, there have been a variety of decisions that have been made on the administrative level that have left my community feeling disenfranchised. One thing that we're kind of working to do in our policy papers to address that is create avenues for students to talk to the administration. Our impact review forms are exceptional at this because they allow students to actually directly communicate with administration on how the decisions are impacting them. And right now, students don't have those avenues and pathways to express themselves.
I also want to talk a little bit more about that SG-wide collaboration framework I brought up. Why this is so special is because if we're both government majors in an executive alliance, a CNS major might be like, what does student government have to do with me? But if you have the representative from the College of Natural Science actually going to those students and saying, what issues are you facing? And then we talk about those issues with that representative from the College of Natural Sciences, we're able to most effectively address that issue. That brings more student voices into student government. And that's one of the things we're most passionate about carrying out.
In order to understand what quiet groups on campus are thinking and wanting for our university, we'd be going to every quiet floor in the PCL and standing there completely still for an hour and listening, seeing if we get anything from that. And if we don't, one of the quietest groups on campus is the animals. And I am the only presidential candidate currently on the ticket that can talk to animals. And I would dare anybody to rebut that. Yeah.
So I think one of the most important parts about reaching out to orgs is not just talking to them or opening that line of communication, but rather telling them what we can do for them. Right now, I think a lot of guidance over what orgs get funded or what SG can even do for your org or how your org even relates to SG is incredibly unclear, which is why so many orgs go underfunded on campus or don't apply for funding at all or never interact with SG at all. So I think direct communication to all the orgs on Horns Link with here's what we can offer you, here's how you can get it, here's how you can apply for it is one of the most important things. We don't want to just be there for people, we want to offer them something.
Yeah, and especially for marginalized orgs, our doors are open to everyone with SG office hours, just in general. Whether we agree with you or disagree with you, we are still here to serve you. And as far as quieter orgs go, even if you aren't interfacing directly with student government, we want to deliver real change and real options for all students, plug into orgs, officially or not, to be able to experience the best that UT has to offer.
I think having org tours and going to all organizations on campus and seeing what needs need to be addressed for them is going to be really important. Meeting them where they're at and going to those organizations, seeing what they need and how student government can fund them and better support and advocate for them to administrations.
Yeah, for sure. We want to make sure that all of our policy points, we're reaching out to organizations who are affected by that or who are already working to address that to make sure that they're in the loop when we try to address those issues through SG. I think also, as we mentioned earlier, we want to implement an anonymous policy feedback form so students who don't want to maybe speak in front of a crowd or whatever, they can still have their opinions and their kind of feedback on our policy and our initiatives heard.
this past semester, I actually had a really awesome opportunity to be a part of a program called Texas Trailblazers. And a part of that program, I co-led a project on Longhorn identity and traditions. And as a part of that project, myself and my team read 3 books, talked to alumni just as far back as people are still alive, talked to people in the tower, and a bunch of stakeholders across the university. And one of the things that we kind of concluded as a part of that project was that with 1,212 organizations on campus that are registered, there are 1,212 corners of campus with their own individual backgrounds and experiences and identities. And something that we concluded as far as that goes is that we need to mechanize community. Community is a really nice buzzword, but unless you do something about it, it doesn't mean much. So as far as our SG reform policy topic, we want to create representative board liaisons so that we assign assembly members a portfolio of organizations to be in constant communication with, so that obviously me and Nina would love to be at every organization that is a priority of ours, but more so than anything, we need a system for there to be constant communication with all the organizations across campus in a way that makes sense and has a system so that it is aligned.
Armando.
Thank you. Going back to what Ben said, if what it takes to reach every student on campus is Pen and I being at the table 24/7 on Speedway for the duration of our administration, if that is what it takes to reach every student and let them know about student government, especially underrepresented groups, then that is what we will do. That is what we will do. Even if that is what it takes to reach every single student, we will do it.
I also just want to add, during this campaign, it's been so much fun and meant a lot to both of us, coming up to all of you guys. And all this seems like a really formal process, coming to these orgs and hearing what they want to hear. But also we want this to make a relationship out of coming to these orgs. We want to make a relationship with you guys, and it's just be a very friendly interaction because we're trying to help you guys, and we want you guys to help us as well. It's a relationship more so than a formal process.
How do you think each of your campaigns and platforms are going to impact the voter turnout for this election, which has historically been around 11%? Are all of you hoping to set a higher bar for future campaigns? And what do y'all hope for future campaign-wide elections, future campus-wide elections to look like?
Yeah, so the costumes I hope are pretty hard to miss. I really don't enjoy wearing the wig, but if that's what it takes, I will do it. And I wanted to be Abraham Lincoln, but Bailey's significantly taller than me, so I happen to be George Washington. But yes, I think we're expecting a higher turnout, especially since one thing that we're really big on is going to the dorms. I've eaten at JCL for basically every meal this week, and I think turnout can be spurred by something a little bit unserious. Not everything with student government has to be some large overarching plan. Sometimes it can be simple.
Yeah, student government should be for every student at UT. And that's why we've been going to places like Welch, places like the engineering building. We want to make sure that students from colleges and schools that normally aren't represented in student government have the opportunity to make their voices heard. If I had a nickel for every time I've walked up to someone and said, hey, are you planning on going to student government elections? And they said, what's student government? I don't have a whole lot, but it goes to show that reaching out to students is a real way to give them a voice for advocacy in their campus experience.
I think people will be more inclined to vote if they had someone connecting with them and asking them what they think is wrong with student government. I can confidently say that me and Nick don't have the most Instagram followers, and that's because we focus more on in-person interactions. We are expecting a higher voter turnout because we're out in Speedway. We are going to organizations. We've been doing this before elections or campaigns even started. So we're very interested to see how many people, come out and turn out. But I think it's more because of we're out there talking to them rather than, just posting on social media.
I'm really excited to see, I think a larger amount of people voting this year. Being the College of Natural Sciences, a lot of students don't even know what student government is or how they represent them. So it's really interesting going to those classrooms, going to talk to students in different majors and departments that may not have historically been representing student government or know what's going on, and seeing how they were being impacted by it.
And we've really enjoyed the opportunity to connect one-on-one with a lot of different students, and we're hoping that this connection and this effort into our community will be represented at the polls this year.
Nina.
So I think that every single individual on this stage is going to be a testament to how much more eyes we're getting on student government. We have a lot of quality campaigns running this year, and a lot of individuals are paying attention. And in my history in being in student government, this year we definitely have those optics. But I think it's not only voter turnout for this year, but next year. So one of our policy platform ideas is to have a polling system in the student government elections, not only for first-year elections, but for polling after this debate. I'm personally really passionate about civic engagement. I'm currently a Texas Civic Ambassador at the Annette Strauss Institute, and I understand at a very mechanized level that in order to continue to get eyes on student government, again, we have to give people a stake, but a reason to keep coming back and participating. And everybody loves a good poll. Polls are fun, and that's going to be a really fun way in the future that we plan on engaging the student body to keep voter turnout high.
Camille. We're both aware that student government is largely a popularity contest, which will be great for us because Connor and I are both very popular and have many friends. So we're expecting a high voter turnout at this election. With regard to increasing voter turnout for the next election, I think it's fairly simple. I think we want to establish a hardline authoritarian policy towards student elections. It's as simple as expelling anyone who doesn't vote.
And you know, we do these publicity stunts that they won't do. We bike 101 miles. We 1v1 Twin users. Okay, these people, they're going for the small leagues, we're going big. They get the X-Pers endorsement, we get Timothy Chalamet. So we're getting mainstream in here while they're still getting D-list celebrities.
Oh, gotta let her respond.
In Kira and I's experience being on Speedway, one thing we've realized is a lot of students are very, very hopeful actually about this election. They are looking for some positive change to happen, and they're looking to us on this stage to make sure that that happens. Kira and I are harnessing that, we're talking to our communities, and we believe that there are a lot of students that are really, really excited about this election. Kira and I, even if we have to sit on Speedway today and get pied 150 times to pass out some good literature that informs students of the initiatives that are benefiting them, that's what we're gonna do, and so yeah.
Armando.
Concerning voter turnout, I would say we have put a disproportionate amount of emphasis into our media over the past 3 months. And I would say, combined with all of these campaigns here, we have, well, we'll see come election day, we have raised the bar for what it means to set a campaign in terms of voter turnout.
And we're not doing this for us, we're doing this for you guys, because at the end of the day, we want to make university as itself better. If that means more voter turnout this year, it's going to be more voter turnout next year, and so on. So at the end of the day, we're doing this for you guys. We want University of Texas to be the best school around the world.
That wraps up our audience Q&A portion. Thank you to everyone who participated and asked or submitted questions. Now each executive alliance will have 2 minutes to provide a closing statement in reverse order of filing. So we'll start with Kira.
First of all, we just want to say thank you guys so much for coming. We kind of wanted to talk a little bit about how our student government is uniquely positioned to make change on this campus. And Jaylen and I think that right now, our student government is at a critical moment. We're at extreme levels of administrative change and apathy for student government. And Jaylen and I are committed to fighting for students, for creating an administration where students can explicitly point to one thing that their vote made better, not for them, but with them.
Kira and I have the interesting perspective of having no student government experience and a lot of student government experience. We also have completely different experiences in our community. We have the footholds in our community to make sure that we're pulling from different people in the community. We also have feasible policy, and that's the most important thing that you're going to hear on this debate stage tonight. We hope that in a year, like Kira said, you can point to something that has changed on this campus because of your votes. Kira and I are really, really excited about that, and we hope that you will vote for us.
Yes, so last thing we just wanted to end with is that we love your support. We believe that we're an administration that not only understands what this role demands of us, but what you guys are demanding of us. And we're hoping to have your support to move the 40 forward.
think just to sum it all up, it really, Ben and I owe each and every one of you a massive thank you for making this 40 acres home and for making us feel right at home.
I think the most important thing for you guys to know is that we're doing this for you, and all of our policies are very feasible. I know every single candidate up here is going to say that because everyone up here is extremely qualified, and we're so grateful to be on the stage talking to you guys. But at the end of the day, we want you up on the stage with us. So when we're hopefully elected, we want all of you guys to continue reaching out, continue supporting us, but also at the same time, we want to support you just as much and more than that.
Thank you so much, everyone. Hook 'em horns.
Although we both prepared closing statement and knew it was happening, we want to utilize this time, instead of talking at you, to listen to you.
Can we expect any like stand-up to come in the near future, or is this like no?
Oh my God. I went through your trash. It's the same as yours. Our involvement in Neutrality has nothing to do with our campaign.
Has your favorite color changed since the beginning?
No. Thank you for the question.
No.
Can you finish the poem you wrote?
That's up to you, Armando. Also, Ben didn't respond to the note I passed him. Also, I'd like to point out that during the debate, I sneezed and only 2 people said bless you.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Who said bless you?
It was Connor and Siona.
Do you have any comments about the Epstein files?
In terms of student government having a higher profile, Connor and I can commit to being the only 2 candidates on this stage in the Epstein files.
Whoa, I was in the Jaylen Maxwell files.
Those are my candidates right there.
First, we want to take a moment to thank all of the alliances for their passion and dedication to improving the team.
Student government ultimately should represent the voices of you guys, and that's why our saying is y'all means all.
We are ready to lead with intention, transparency, and direct results, and we are determined to remove barriers to strengthen the UT community.
My name is Sarah Sheriff.
And I'm Siona and I'm Holly.
We're running for your next executive alliance. Thank you so much for being here, guys.
Next we have Kelsey Nick.
Thank you guys for coming out tonight. It meant a lot for you guys to just sit and listen to our policies. I know that takes a lot of time out of you guys' schedule. Me and Nick are tremendously committed to accessibility, action, and accountability. There will be no secret arrangements, no surprises. It'll be all responsibility. Unfortunately, we didn't have enough time to talk about our big ticket reform, our mental health policies and whatnot, but we are super committed to that. So if you can, stop by Speedway when you see us tabling, throwing water balloons at each other. Come say hi to us in between classes. We are super committed to this, and we're here for you to better your student life. Thank you.
Much like what she said, we've been preaching the AAAs for about 2 weeks now. We want to make sure you guys know that we are here for you, and not the administration, not anybody, not any third party like just to that. But we basically just want you to know that we're accessible to you guys. If you want to DM us a question on Instagram, we do follow everybody back until, and we're just ultimately here to make sure that everybody is served, no matter what work you're in or what background you come from. Thank you.
Jaylen Nina.
us for the 40, that's our slogan for our campaign. And as we promised, we are here to deliver on what we've been hearing around campus for the entirety of our time here at UT. We want to listen to you, and we want student government to serve you. From talking about the structural changes all the way down to our non-negotiable conversations that we know students are having. Every single one of our policy and initiatives are feasible and actionable, and we are promising here today, again, blew us off the stage at commencement, that we are going to do everything in our power to get it done. And on a personal note, thank you all for listening. This means a lot to me. I am so grateful to be here and have the opportunity to run. It's been something I've wanted to do since the moment I stepped foot on campus, and it's very surreal being here, and I'm grateful to do it with you, Jaylen.
I will end this like I began it. More than a campaign, this is an open letter to the university. It's an open letter to the university about what it has been, what it is, and what it can be. And I want to see this university be genuinely the best university on the world. More so than anything, we need to bring each other together. We need more interconnectedness, but we need to reform the systems to ensure that that is possible, that it is realistic, and that it will genuinely make the change that you all are wanting to see. If anything that we said resonates with you, please do check us out on Instagram, Jaylen Nina. I do encourage all of you to read the full policy platforms of everybody on this stage. I know everybody put a lot of work in making sure that those are completely thorough. And more so than anything, thank you for having us.
Now, I know student government can be boring, and I actually think sitting through this debate is kind of an achievement. It's basically like a lecture, except you don't get out 15 minutes early to walk to your next class. And you've heard a lot of ideas tonight, but I want to keep those ideas focused on what's practical, actionable, and most of all, achievable. Now, I can't promise you a space elevator, and I can't necessarily promise that you can drop whatever class you want. But what I can promise is a microwave in the PCM. Real, actionable change. We can extend library hours. We've done it before. Your student government is your local government. Fill your potholes, pick up your trash, and focus on practical change.
When it comes down to it, we're not here for buzzwords or standing on our soapbox. All I want to do is implement realistic, possible, doable solutions to practical, everyday issues that y'all face. We've said before, and we'll say it again, what starts here changes the world, but what starts here starts with y'all. And that's why I want to put y'all first.
For a microwave in the PCL, a 24/7 tower library, and reformed registration, vote Kate and Bailey. Thank you.
Thank you to all our Executive Alliance candidates who participated. We appreciate the chance to get a better understanding of your policy. Thank you as well to everyone who watched the debate via our live stream or in person. Keep an eye out on Friday for the Daily Texan Editorial Board's endorsement of an Executive Alliance candidate. And voting for students opens Monday, March 2nd, and ends Tuesday, March 3rd at 5 p.m. Election results will be announced on March 9th at 9 p.m. Best of luck to all of our candidates in their races.
Yeah.
Can we also get a round of applause for the Daily Texan? I know we put a lot of
Yeah, Daily Texan.
I like to say that tonight my legs are unshaved for feminism and because I forgot.
Woo!
Oh, Siona has just so stressed out. Okay.